Hi, my name is Biju Parekkadan.
And I'm Roy Cho, and we're the writers of Sumeria.
So, Sue, the first question is how did this story start? And beyond kind of the story itself, there was a story of how Roy and I got together and started writing it. At the time, he and I have been best friends since middle school, but I've been working in Boston as an assistant professor. He's working in New York City as a corporate lawyer. And on a holiday, I think it was Christmas time of 2009, I'd come home to see my family and had randomly met Roy at a coffee shop. And at the time, I was working on a novel for a novel writing contest that was called Sumeria. And it was kind of a science fiction piece. And Roy was also writing on a screenplay, working on a screenplay at that time. And we just talked, caught up with life stories. And, at that time, that's kind of how we left it, just recapturing our friendship. And a few months later, he gave me a call, and we started talking about working together on this project, where there was an element of the story that came on board with Roy's edition, which was this political dystopia, and that was, I would say, in around the spring of 2010, and from there. Roy came on and I shared the story that I was working on, which was kind of this unfinished novel, and we spent a few months just talking about how we can put these two pieces together, and I think we we started writing around the fall of 2010.
Around the fall of 2010, yeah, that sounds right. And I guess the next question is this the first script that we've written?
For me personally, yeah, it is.
So I guess you were working on a novel at the time, but I guess screenwriting for you was a new medium.
Yeah.
For me, this is my third screenplay. So it definitely was something that I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to at some point write a screenplay that was set in in the future and had a science fiction element of it. And so, as Biju mentioned before, it was just kind of fortuitous that we bumped into each other after a couple of years, and we were able to kind of take these two different stories that at first didn't seem as if they could fit together nicely. But I think a lot of that the initial months that we, after we first met at Panera, I guess the hard part of it was figuring out how to create a story that was organic and that made sense, that was able to kind of combine what Biju was working on and kind of combine what I wanted to do and create a story that was just, that was organic. So I guess how many rewrites did we do?
I would say probably 4 different drafts. I mean, we're still rewriting as we speak. I think it's great to have continue to revisit what you wrote and strengthen it. But yeah, probably
4 drafts.
Yeah, before we sent this in.
Why did we enter Scriptapalooza? That's actually, I could probably speak to that because I kind of used Scriptapalooza to lure Biju into a writing partnership because, like I said, we hadn't seen each other in a couple of years and we were, best friends growing up, but, I wanted to make sure that he knew that I was serious about writing, that I took it seriously, that, I could, stick to deadlines, and that I felt as if, using a previous script of mine that I had written was a semifinalist in Scriptapalooza, so I was able to show that to Biju and say, kind of like use that as a carrot and be like, this is something that I had done, I've taken it seriously, and I've gotten some recognition for it, so, would you like to be part of a writing team and part of a writing partnership? So I think it gave me a little bit more legitimacy in Biju's eyes.
So, it gave me more confidence to work with someone just because I had no experience doing this myself, so it really, it was an independent validation that, Roy is an excellent screenwriter and working hard.
So any advice for other writers?
Yeah, I think well, I can speak to writing in a partnership. The great thing about working with someone, whether it's a writing partner or not, or just being able to talk to someone, is just getting feedback and communicating about ideas and concepts and characters that may at first you have a struggle to define what's going on. And Roy and I spent a lot of time on the phone and talking through emails. Over some really pivotal scenes and pivotal characters, and I think having a really open discussion where, we got to the essence of what we were trying to do and worked out a strategy together was really a great way to have really cumulative thought on these ideas. So
absolutely, and I guess just something my advice would be a little bit different, but also kind of related, and it's basically just finding the time to write. I think that one thing that Biju and I were concerned about at the outset was both of us have pretty busy lives. So we wanted to make sure that we'd be able to both, fully commit our time to this project and take it seriously. And, despite our clear devotion to it, I I think just life gets in the way. You know, you have a full-time job, you have your day job to worry about, then you have other commitments and personal commitments. So I think what Biju and I were able to do pretty well was just set aside some time. You know, so I mean, it doesn't. You know, and also if you're in a writing partnership, you know, you could also just make that work. I mean, Biju was working in Cambridge, in Massachusetts, and I was, you know, down in New York City. But you know, we were able to kind of communicate, like Biju said, like a lot. Like, you know, nowadays you have the internet, so you have, you know, you have GChat, you have emails. There's all these different ways you can communicate. But I guess more to the larger point is that, you know, just make sure you set aside some time. So just set aside a couple hours, you know, every whether it be in the morning or at night, or, you know, break up your day and have a 2 hour writing block, you know, in the middle of your day, and however you want to do it, you could absolutely make it work. I mean, you know, both Biju and I were absolutely able to make it work. I think that once you start writing something that you care about and that you're interested in, it just becomes a lot easier to do that, because you realize that this is something that's important to you, and you get excited by the project, and it just kind of snowballs.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd be clacking the keys on my keyboard late at night, and I'd call Biju up and PDF him the pages I worked on, and he would just mark those up furiously, send them right back to me a couple hours later. So, I mean, you know, sometimes we'd be exchanging emails at, you know, 4 or 5 in the morning, but, you know, it's just, you know, that worked for us.
Yeah,
and
we cared about the story enough to do that, and to have 2 lives.
Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.